Hey everyone, Joe Camacho here with Target Specialty Products, hoping this video finds you, your family, and your team all doing well. Well, it's officially wintertime now. Temperatures in my neck of the woods are dropping into the 30s at night, which means you're probably reducing your chemical applications and your equipment's not being used too much. It's a great time to winterize things, and so today I've asked Mariama's technical support specialist, Colton Woodling, to share with us how to properly winterize the MD300 mosquito duster, their backpack granular applicator. Stay tuned until the end and we'll have a quick interview with Colton to wrap up the winterization process.
In this video, we'll be going over how to winterize your Mariama backpack dusting equipment. It is important to winterize your two-cycle equipment, as unused fuel sitting over time can cause damage not only to your fuel delivery system, but your engine as well. When winterizing your backpack duster, you will need the following: safety glasses, gloves, a bucket with clean water, cup, a funnel, two-cycle oil, a teaspoon measuring tool, box spanner tool, and a tub or drain pan. Before we get started, here are some additional tips to keep in mind. Store your unit indoors if possible. If not, make sure it is kept in a warm and dry place out of the sun. Mariama recommends using fuel mixed with Mariama Blue Shield 2-cycle oil in your unit prior to storage. This will help ensure proper engine and fuel delivery system operation when the unit is brought out of storage for use. It is recommended to do this process outside. If doing this process inside, make sure there is adequate ventilation. Make sure that the shutter on the tank is fully closed before proceeding. To remove the chemical tank for cleaning, first, pull out the snap pin from the connecting rod using a pair of pliers. Work the connecting rod off of the link arm. Flip the locking levers on both sides of the tank upwards to release the chemical tank. Remove the tank and open the shutter to let out any remaining chemicals into your tub or drain pan. Dispose of any remaining chemicals according to the chemical manufacturer's recommendations. Remove the discharge port assembly. Clean and inspect the inside of the blower housing. Thoroughly rinse the discharge port assembly and set aside. Thoroughly rinse the chemical tank and set aside. In the meantime, flip the chemical tank over to dry. Empty the remaining fuel out of the tank. Unused fuel sitting over time can cause damage to your fuel delivery system and engine. It is important to keep both in working order to ensure proper unit function. Push the primer bulb until fuel stops discharging from the fuel return line. Pour out any remaining fuel from the previous step. Start the engine and run it until it stops. Remove the spark plug. Make sure to wear gloves during this procedure, as the spark plug could be hot. Measure out a teaspoon of 2-cycle oil using a teaspoon measuring tool. Using a funnel, pour a teaspoon of oil down the spark plug hole. Slowly pull the starter recoil a few times until the piston is at top dead center. The piston should be stored at top dead center so that the lubricating oil will not settle at the bottom of the crankcase. Reinstall the spark plug.
Well, Colton, thank you, man. I appreciate you taking the time to do that video. I know it's not rocket science winterizing equipment, but it's always good to have a good refresher to help us remember what it is that we need to do to make sure our equipment is ready for us when we need it. And so I appreciate you doing that. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So after watching that, I did have a couple questions though, just to kind of wrap up this winterization process. I know some of my customers they decide to use fuel stabilizer in their mixture because they don't use it every day, and so maybe it might sit on a shelf for a couple of weeks or 3 weeks or maybe a month with fuel in it, and so they want to make sure nothing happens. If they use fuel stabilizer, do they still need to empty the fuel out like you suggested?
It depends on how long the unit sits without being used.
Okay.
So if it's anything under a month, I think that would be fine. If you're using gasoline out of a pump, probably anything more than a month. If it sits more than a month, should be dumped out. If you're using True Fuel, you can absolutely leave that in there.
Okay, I got you. So in reality, most people probably aren't taking their Mariama to a gas pump and filling it up. They're probably filling up a 5-gallon can and putting it in there. And so you're talking about from the time they put it in that 5-gallon can, if it's been sitting in their pesticide room for 2 months and then they pour it in their Mariama, that's all time that they need to account for, right?
Correct. And we always recommend to use fresh fuel.
Right.
Fresh fuel for all operations.
Absolutely awesome. And then the second question I had, at the end of that winterization process, you pulled the spark plug out, you put in a teaspoon of the 2-cycle oil, and you put this you brought it to top dead to center, and then you put the spark plug back in there. And so my question is in the springtime when after it's been sitting for a couple or 3 months or whatever, and it's ready to use again, is there anything we need to do to get that thing ready to go, or is it just ready to go as it is?
No, sir, it's ready. So that small amount of oil is just enough to lubricate all of the internal parts of the engine.
Gotcha.
It's just the right amount. Any more, it would maybe cause some issues, maybe some starting issues. But no, you just pour fuel in and start it, and you're ready to go. It may smoke a little, but
Sure. Yeah, burn off a little bit of XX fuel for a little bit, and then
yes,
you're good to go. Awesome. Well, hey, man, those are a couple of things I had. I appreciate your time. You did a great job, like I said, and thanks a lot for everything you do for us.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Awesome.